Yes, I do want your card.
Sit down then. Let me go get that card.
All the other police officers know me. They know me down the street. They know me.
Just because he's black doesn't mean he's here to rob a house. He works for us. He's been in this neighborhood for 30 years. Now go find 4600 Foxhall Crescent.
That is an exchange that took place on the afternoon of October 1. You don't hear or read or see many exchanges like that. It involved an attorney here in Washington, D.C., Attorney Jody Westby, who is with us online from California, and I want to thank her very much for taking the time. First of all, this has made international news. BBC is reporting it. It's all over the country. How did it begin? Where were you? How did you see this situation develop, Attorney Westby? And thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here on the show. Westby, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I apologize. Westby. Thank you.
No, that's no problem. I was working in my home office, and my housekeeper happens to work across the street on Wednesdays. And she came over and used her key to let herself in and called for me and told me that the police had Dennis. And Dennis is the man who was down on the curb.
He's the 64-year-old gentleman we're talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and Dennis is a special guy. He was hit by a car about 10 years ago when he was crossing an intersection and was in the hospital for over a year. And he had a stroke, and his right hand is not usable and very much at all, and he has a limp. And he comes to the neighborhood, and he had worked for a former ambassador and U.S. senator, and then when they moved and sold their house, the rest of us just sort of took him in, and he comes to the neighborhood, and he needs a place to be, and he does odd jobs. So when she said the police had Dennis, I knew that there was a problem, so I was running outside.
I got you. That and I can understand. So everything you've told us, this is interesting. So he had a stroke. He had limited use of one of his hands or arms. They're responding to it according to what is being I'm reading here. Supposedly a household burglary alarm went off in the neighborhood, and that's what they were responding to.
Yes.
And so did they, and so it sounds to me that they just happened to see him and assumed that that he should be a suspect. Because what's interesting is I wonder if the police had any description of what happened in this household where the alarm went off. I mean, did they have a description?
No, all that happened in that household, come to find out, was the owner had keyed in the wrong code. You're exactly right, and that's what I immediately knew was happening, especially when I learned later that they had gone to the home where my housekeeper was working, and she told them they were in the wrong address. And then they looked down two houses down, and they saw Dennis standing there talking to the neighbor's gardener. Now, this man, if he had just set off a home alarm, I don't think he's going to be standing there talking to the neighbor's gardener. And they immediately just started accusing him.
Why did you feel obligated to speak up?
Because it was wrong. And it was clearly wrong, and I would have done it for anyone, but especially for Dennis. And it really portrayed exactly why Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown are dead. It is a perception among police departments that black people are going to be a criminal. And I have had so many black people, African Americans, I assume, but anyway, of that race, call me and email me and tell me, you are so right, and in fact, the black cops treat us worse than the white cops. And
that's
so
right.
I think it's a police department problem. And I was distressed that some people are thinking, oh, it was interesting because it was giving deference to a white woman. And I don't think they were giving me any deference at all. She told me to stand back, that I couldn't approach him, that she was conducting an investigation. And I said, well, are you detaining him? Because if you're detaining him, you need probable cause. What is your probable cause?
And their
So
answer was?
I did what I would do for any person.
All right.